As women, our ability to connect deeply and to cooperate with each other is one of our greatest and most powerful traits. But it's tough to come together and make things happen if we fall into the trap of being selfish, competitive, or downright treacherous to each other. Hi ladies, welcome back to the Feminine Universe. I am so happy to have you here. We regularly talk about and put a lot of emphasis on meeting good people and finding good friends. Rightly so. But it's always worth a reminder that it's just as important to be a good person and to be a good friend. As women, our power as a collective is indescribable. I think our ability to connect deeply and cooperate with each other is one of our greatest and most powerful traits. But it's tough to come together and make things happen if we fall into the trap of being selfish, competitive, or downright treacherous to each other. So today I want us to dive into a little bit of girl code and to go over a few guidelines on how to interact with, respect, and support other women so our friendships can flourish, we can live better lives, keep doing big things, and keep changing the world. Of course, I'd love to hear your take on girl code or any additions you may have in the comments. Now let's get started. Code number 1 is to develop that sister's keeper mentality. The first step is to start getting in the mindset of just being aware of and concerned for the women around you. It's become so normalized to be in this every man for himself mode or every woman for herself mode that it might really take some conscious effort to start doing this. If a girl has lipstick on her teeth, paper stuck to her shoe, or if her fly is undone, find a subtle way to tell her. If a girl looks lost, ask her if she needs help. If she's being pestered by creeps, just strike up a conversation with her like you know her. If a woman looks awkward, out of place, or out of her depth at a professional or social event, maybe compliment something she has on and just chat with her for a little bit. If you know younger girls, make sure they feel like they can come to you for help or to talk if they don't have women they can talk to or feel comfortable talking to. So that way they're not at the mercy of the vultures out there. I've also run into many women over the years crying, whether that's in bathrooms or in elevators, and I simply say, I know you probably don't want to tell a stranger your business, so I'm not going to ask what's wrong, but can I just sit here with you or stand here with you for a little bit? They've always said yes, and many of them end up opening up. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Not every woman has a mom or mother figure, or they don't have a healthy relationship with her. Some women don't have a sisterhood type of support system and have only ever been bullied and judged by other women. And that one sincere interaction can not only mean so much to them, but also inspire them to do the same for the next woman they come across. I'm not saying you have to wear a pink cape or make yourself late to work every day or put yourself in any dangerous situations. Just become more interested in the well-being of other women. Develop that sister's keeper mentality and help when you can. Code number 2 is to prioritize women's safety. Safety over everything, okay? We all know we're living in wild times. So be sure you're taking extra care to not only keep yourself safe, but to keep the women in your life and the women around you safe. Try not to let women walk alone. With your friends, offer rides when you can. Walk with them when you can. Stay on FaceTime with them when you can. When dropping them off, wait until they get inside and you're sure they're safe and sound. Let someone know where you're going, share your location, and make it that much easier to help keep you safe as well. Code number 3 is don't engage in woman wars. I'm already not into the gender wars at all, so I'm definitely not going to be into the wars within our gender. We should avoid them at all cost. Older women versus younger women, stay-at-home moms versus those that work outside of the home, women with children versus women without. It's all so silly and not productive in any way. Older women have seen days you've never seen. Having someone to tell you where the potholes in life are and how to potentially avoid them is priceless. Someone to put you on to natural remedies, to love on you from their endless supply and ask for nothing in return. Someone to give you wisdom that would have taken many years and many mistakes to learn on your own is such an amazing form of protection. The younger ladies, they bring that fresh perspective. They're finding new, more efficient ways to do old things. They keep life fun and make you forget about some of life's heaviness. They can help you embrace living in the moment. They are bold, optimistic, and bring that anything is possible mindset that life can sometimes steal from you. Bringing life into this world is amazing and awe-inspiring. It doesn't make you better than the woman who hasn't. Having a career outside of the home is an achievement to behold. It doesn't make you better than the woman who chooses to stay home and put all of her focus on her family. There are pros and cons to every single one of these lifestyles. It's pointless to try and compare or attempt to say what's better or worse. It's such a silly way to divide ourselves because the answer of what's better is different for everyone. Everyone should do what's best for them and their situation. If you're content with your life and happy with your decisions, you shouldn't need to knock other women's decisions. The next code is to give grace to other women. When we grow up certain ways, whether in very traditional or conventional households, maybe sprinkle in a bit of a different culture, maybe a bit of religion, it's very easy to get a little on your high horse and to be a little bit judgy and critical. I personally have had to grow into a woman who understands that people are who they are and people behave the way they behave because of what they've been through, what they've been exposed to, and what they've lacked in their life. So whatever version of someone you see in front of you, you need to come to understand that that is an amalgamation of everything that they've been through. We have to learn to look at it like, if I didn't have a father, if I didn't have my mother, if I didn't have such a supportive community and village, if I'd always had to fend for myself or been used and abused, if I grew up in areas where I literally had to fight to survive, how would I be? And when you start to learn to look at things from that perspective, it just helps you to be a little less judgmental and a little bit more there, but for the grace of God go I. Given the same exact circumstances, I'd probably be the same exact way, doing the same exact things. Now, this doesn't mean we can't call a spade, or that we can't disagree with certain opinions or behaviors, but we can do so without discarding or condemning the whole person. In that same vein, if a woman, and especially a friend, makes a mistake and does something you're unhappy with, but she's willing to apologize and acknowledge her wrongs and really show you how she's going to keep that from happening in the future, have a little grace in those kinds of instances too. We're so quick to throw away friends and sisterhoods sometimes. Don't be that person giving the same old man 10 chances for the same old thing, but cutting off your girls because of one mistake. We're all human. We all make mistakes. In every situation where it's possible, have a little grace. And that moves us right into the next code, which is to prioritize friendship and keep secrets. I don't think I need to go too in depth here, but I do think we've all known women that put men and romantic relationships ahead of friendships they've had for years and even decades. The woman who will co-sign on a $60,000 car for a man she's known 2 months, but won't invest $100 into a friend's startup. Or the one who forgets friends exist whenever they meet a new man. You get my point. And when it comes to keeping secrets, just normalize keeping things to yourself. While in a friendship, someone shouldn't even have to explicitly ask you to keep things a secret. If it sounds private, if it doesn't put them in the best light, keep it to yourself. Honestly, try to make a habit of not really sharing anything that you aren't explicitly asked to share. And even after a falling out, do your best to keep secrets that were shared in confidence when you were friends. Friendships can never truly be a safe space if everyone feels like the moment we're not friends anymore or we have a falling out, everything is being spilled. She didn't pay you back. Okay, understood. But that's not a reason to share details about her family drama or abuse she dealt with that she shared with you. That's completely unrelated, unnecessary, and unbecoming. Code number 6 is to respect other women's relationships. So much goes into this, but I'm just going to split it up into a part A and B very quickly. Part A of respecting other women's relationships is more so about respecting people's space within their relationship and giving yourself boundaries. I'm talking about things like being conscious of not being overly touchy or clingy on another woman's man, not being that girl always giving those never-ending hugs, or just calling or texting her man all the time, whether you are friends or work together, and especially when you only know him through her. If you need to speak to him and it's not something super quick, try going through the woman by saying something like, "Hey, I know Tony is great with computers. Would you mind asking him if I could drop off my laptop for him to take a look at sometime?" If you're just meeting a couple, try to make eye contact with and address the woman first, or at the very least, try to include her. If a man is trying to flirt with you while with his lady, pay him dust, ignore him completely, and pray that she finds better for herself. Don't smirk to yourself like it's cute, like, ooh, I could take her man. And do what with him? Get cheated on too a month later? Just don't be that overly friendly girl and put the woman in a place where she has to be called insecure or whatever other term if she's not comfortable with something you're doing. Everyone has their own varying levels of comfort, so just do your best to function from a place that's as respectful to the woman as possible. Now, for part B of respecting other women's relationships, I wished we live in a world where I didn't even have to say this, but don't get involved with taken men, married men, men in relationships. If you do men with children, avoid the ones with newborns or the ones who don't take care of the children they have. That screaming unresolved situation or deadbeat. I feel like one of the reasons people are so quick to end things and don't feel the need to try to repair things within their relationships is because there are so many people on the outside willing to entertain them. Don't participate in these antics. Code number 7 is more support, less jealousy. I'm not sure who started the rumor that women are more envious and more jealous than men. I don't think that's necessarily the case, though I do think it manifests a bit differently, but that's a whole other conversation. In any case, I'm never going to guilt people for having totally normal emotions. It's normal to feel a little bit of envy when someone has something you want, especially if it's something you've been working towards and striving for and then seems to come to them effortlessly, or it seems like they're unappreciative of it. It's normal to feel a little bit jealous when it feels like someone is taking your spot or moving in on your territory in any way. I understand that, and I'm not knocking anyone for feeling that emotion. But I do think there's a difference between feeling an emotion and dwelling on it, or even worse, acting on it and treating someone poorly out of jealousy or envy. If you are the one that happens to be winning and progressing, be proud of yourself, but try not to rub it in anyone's face distastefully. As you focus on being more productive and supportive, you'll notice any envy and jealousy begin to decrease. As far as what being supportive looks like, that could be a whole essay, so I will put up a list with a few ideas. I would also love to take this time to highlight some of the support you ladies have shown me. From the ladies who watch every week, the ones who take time to comment on almost every video, the ladies pushing me to do a book or course or meetup that they can support, and most recently, those of you who have been sending in super thanks contributions as sweet tokens of gratitude. It's clear that we are building a community that is naturally supportive. It always feels good to know you ladies find value in my content and that I'm supporting you in some way on your journey. I am so looking forward to what our future together holds and to watching you support each other on your fitness journeys, weddings, babies, professional endeavors, and so much more. To continue with my previous thought, the same way that it gets harder to focus on negativity or what you may lack when you choose to practice gratitude, it does become harder to dwell in envy or jealousy when you're A, putting in the work on yourself, and B, choosing to focus on being supportive. And when you choose to support the right women who believe in the code and uplifting each other, you set yourself up to receive that support back in spades. Code number 8 is to inquire in private. I've seen a lot of acquaintances and even friendships go left on this one, asking personal questions in public or around others. I know it's become normalized for people to share every nitty-gritty detail of their lives, whether it's their exact income, their surgeries, fillers, or Botox, to pulling off their wigs at any given moment, to publicly speaking about their divorces. There's nothing wrong if that's what you want to do. If that's how you define relatable or authentic, do your thing, but be respectful of the fact that not everyone functions that way, especially strangers or people you're meeting for the first or second time. Just because you wouldn't mind being asked certain things in front of others, like how much you make, how much is your rent or mortgage, or do you have lip filler? Is that your hair? Have you had surgery to your face or body? It doesn't mean it won't make someone else uncomfortable. Some people are private. Some people don't like being put on the spot. And honestly, you never know who's listening, just waiting to count your pockets or get in your business in other ways. If you really need to know something, which should only be because you're interested in that professional field or in moving to that particular area, or in knowing where they got a service done because you're actually in the market for that service or product, then try to get them one-on-one or pull them aside for a moment and compliment first, then inquire politely. On the other side of that coin is girl code number 9, which is don't gatekeep. Be willing to help a sister out when it comes to self-care products, fitness tips, or where to find a job. Of course, you're allowed to have certain parts of your life that are sacred to you. Keep grandma's secret recipe, but some people won't even share what brand of toothpaste they used. I remember being scolded for sharing my hair care products sometimes growing up. Like, no, we're not doing that. One of my favorite quotes is, "A candle loses nothing by lighting another." If anything, we just make the room brighter. No one can steal your blessing. What's for you is for you. And by being kind and generous, you will only draw more blessings and more good energy towards yourself. As we've spoken about in previous videos, being kind doesn't mean being a sucker. If someone has never spoken a word to you and now she wants to know all the vendors of your clothing business or hair business, that's a red flag. Hard pass. There are snakes out there who don't live by the code, and I'm not saying to disregard that fact. I'm talking about someone who's proven themselves to be a good sis. She's an upstanding member of the sisterhood circle. She probably portrays a lot of the traits we're talking about here today. Help out good people where you can. Another caveat I will mention with this one is please don't be that girl who wants everything someone has. If someone put you onto their hairdresser and maybe you now have a similar style, okay, but don't also start wearing their signature perfume and dressing just like them and laughing just like them. Inspiration is different than literal copy and paste imitation. That is going to make someone not want to share things with you. And frankly, it's going to creep people out. You should have your own identity. And of course, always remember what works for one person may not work for another. So don't hound a person for their skincare routine, not realizing their glowing skin is 99% genetics, and then get mad and want to put them on trial if a product they said they use breaks you out like mad. Inquire at your own risk. And lastly, girl code number 10 is to keep certain things between us. The women before me taught me that certain things should only ever be spoken about and shared between women. There are certain conversations my grandma would only have with my sisters and me when there were no men around, even relatives. Women should absolutely have their secrets and their safe spaces. Your girls will understand that you have a new boyfriend or that you're a newlywed and you want to be around your man 24/7. It's kind of cute. But understand that your man doesn't need to be at girls' night or at the monthly girls' brunch, nor does everything we talk about there need to get back to him. Girl time is a time we want to giggle freely and spill our secrets and pour out our souls, or just listen while the elders put us on to strategies they've been using for years that makes their husband melt and he still thinks it's spontaneous. Sometimes you just want to talk to other women who get it. Whether it's dating woes, cold feet before a wedding, career aspirations, difficulty recovering post-pregnancy, mom struggles, or menopause symptoms. We want to protect our privacy, our mystery, and our magic. While I believe we should absolutely use our powers as women for good and not evil, we should absolutely have our private spaces, private conversations, secrets, and little tricks up our sleeves. The world can sometimes be a confusing, dangerous, lonely place, but it can be made so much better knowing you are part of a sisterhood that lives by the code, that you basically have sisters around the world that have your back in some way. So as you move through the world and as we work towards building a tight-knit community here, get comfortable with the phrase, I am my sister's keeper. Look out for each other, respect each other, and support each other. Remember, as a woman, you are incredible. But as a community, we are a force of nature. And that's Girl Code 101. Until next time, ladies, stay feminine, stay focused, and have fun.